What happens when you take inspiration from classic 3D platformers like Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64, apply a fantastic art style, and give the gameplay a truly unique spin? You get the new indie game Ruffy in the Riverside. Ruffy in the Riverside is a new game from Zockrates Laboratories that released on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. And I was lucky enough to get hands-on with this game early thanks to receiving a review code for the Switch. Ruffy in the Riverside is a 3D platformer that is inspired by other classics in the genre, and if I had to use one word to actually describe Ruffy in the Riverside, the word would simply be fun. I've had a blast playing Ruffy, and I've lost a lot of sleep, and I mean a lot of sleep. Look at these bags. And partly that was due to me trying to play as much as I could in order to get this review done, but also because I just didn't want to stop playing this game. It has a pretty engaging story, but doesn't take itself too seriously, which I can appreciate. It takes place in the world around and in the town of Riverside, and a giant evil cube is returned to Riverside who is bent on collecting the mythical marbles scattered throughout this world that have the ability to alter the matter of objects around them. And in this world, you are put behind the wheel of Ruffy, the chosen one, who has a special ability of the swap. And this is easily one of the coolest mechanics I've seen in a 3D platformer in a really long time. You can use the swap ability to take materials in the world around you and alter objects nearby. For example, you can turn water into ice, stone into wood, and so much more. You can also use the swap ability to take images from other locations and apply them elsewhere, helping you solve certain puzzles along your journey. Ruffy is also accompanied by his friend Pip the Bee, who is essentially the Kazooie to Ruffy's Banjo, allowing Ruffy to glide around the world as you explore. The first thing in this game that I really want to address is the art style, because it's absolutely stunning. The 3D world around you is bright and colorful and just feels incredibly fun to look at. But the highlight is the hand-drawn look of the character models that reminds me of Paper Mario if you use a Crayola marker to color in each character. The art style is so full of charm and really helps bring each character to life, not to mention the fantastic animations allowing these 2D character models to look so expressive with their movements. Now, the world around Riverside is much larger than I was expecting when I initially hopped into this game, and the world truly feels like it's begging for you to explore it. Everywhere you look in this world, there is something to do. There are puzzles scattered all throughout the world that you will use the swap ability to access different locations or remove objects. There's also these 2D levels that are built into the world that require you to solve a tile puzzle in order to access them by solving the riddle that the crow in front of them has. And these puzzles have just the right amount of difficulty, with some being rather easy to get the answer to pretty quickly, but others having you sitting there scratching your head trying to figure out what the solution is. None of the more challenging ones felt overly frustrating to solve, but they did feel incredibly rewarding when I did finally find the solution that I was looking for. And if you are into collectathons, this game is full of collectibles for you to find. They are literally everywhere in this game. There are butterflies all around Riverside that you can find and collect. Some are just sitting in hard to reach locations, while others require you to solve puzzles in order to locate them. Furry creatures called Etoi, at least I think they're called Etoi, are hidden all throughout Riverside as well, and finding these cute little guys reminds me a lot of the Koroks in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. They are really adorable, and there's so many of them to find. Dream shards can also be found scattered throughout the world, and these are arguably the most interesting collectible that you find, because it allows you to use the magic canvas in order to change the color of the textures around you, like what you're seeing on screen of me changing the water to have some purple swirls in it. You can literally reshape the world in the color and design that you specifically want, which is a really interesting touch that I wasn't expecting out of this game. There are even some hidden Easter eggs scattered throughout the world, and these Easter eggs will refer to some of the games that I've talked about in this video that inspired Ruffy, like Banjo and Paper Mario, but I won't spoil where or how to find these because it was incredibly exciting for me to actually track this down and see this in game. I was not expecting it at all, and it was a very pleasant surprise. Traversing the world is actually a lot of fun and is much faster paced than I was anticipating. Ruffy has an energy wheel that is nearly identical to the one found in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, showing how long you can actually run and glide. And aside from using your swap power to access new locations or gliding with Pip, later in the game you can even unlock a mount of sorts, a hay bale, to ride across the world at high speeds, unlocking grind rails that give you access to new locations you couldn't reach prior, as well as entering races with. I wasn't really expecting my vehicle in this game to be a hay bale, but I can also turn water into lava in this game, so I don't really know why I'm acting so surprised. Now, there are a variety of enemies scattered throughout the world, but honestly, they're pretty few and far between, and it allows combat to kind of take a back seat to the swap ability that I really feel is a good decision because it allows the swap ability to really shine in this game. With the focus being on the swap ability, it feels like you spend a lot of time in the world looking around at different objects that you can swap, allowing you to solve the puzzles and also allowing you to see all of the love and care that was put into building this world. And since I was using this swap power so frequently, I noticed the longer I played, the more proficient I felt using it. I would see solutions sooner because my brain was already changing textures of items around me before I was actually doing it in game. Now, the last thing I'd like to touch on in the overall gameplay experience is the music in this game. Personally, I find it to fit the tone of the world incredibly well. It's often very light and fun, and it just kind of fits perfectly with the bright and colorful landscape you're exploring. But the absolute best track in the game is the main theme, and it's hard to describe it as anything other than funky. And it's incredibly catchy. I even found myself humming it when I got home from work yesterday. I was just getting everything around and getting set up to actually sit down and play Ruffy, and I just started humming the theme song before I even turned the game on. So it's kind of funny to me with even how recently I've been introduced to Ruffy that as soon as I start thinking about the game, the theme song kicks into my head and I start singing along. Now, I played this game entirely on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I don't plan to go into all the nitty-gritty details of the performance of this game, but the game ran silky smooth in most instances. The only issue that I noticed was an occasional stutter when moving between two large zones in the game, but these stutters are very brief and didn't hurt my enjoyment of the game at all. And this is whether you're playing docked or handheld. The game is running incredibly smoothly aside from those small stutters that I talked about briefly before. The game is just a delight on the eyes. The colors that are popping, the art style, it's just so fun to play and be in this world. I cannot emphasize enough how awesome this game looks and runs. The only other issue I had in my time with Ruffy was the climbing bug, which was actually fixed in the day one patch. And this is something you won't even see in the game anymore by the time this video goes live. So all the issues that I had aside from the stutteriness have been resolved by this point. So in conclusion, Ruffy and the Riverside feels like a love letter to classic 3D platformers, while not being a stale carbon copy of those games due to the combination of its eye-catching visual style and extremely unique gameplay mechanic of the swap power. And in my personal opinion, this is the most unique 3D platformer that I've played since Super Mario Odyssey. The game is full of life and charm, and depending on how much of a completionist you are, there are tons of hours that you can spend in Riverside, tracking down every Etoy and Butterfly, solving all the puzzles that are scattered across the world, or collecting the dream shards and repainting the world how you see fit. There is so much content this game has to offer, and at the $20 price point, if you are a 3D platformer fan, I cannot recommend this game enough. So that is going to be it for my review of Ruffy and the Riverside. I hope you all enjoyed, and I want to thank the Ruffy development team again for sending me over a review code so I could get my hands on early with this game. I absolutely cannot wait to hop back in because there is so much more to discover in Riverside, whether it be finding all those butterflies, tracking down all those Etoy. There's so much to do in this game, and I can't wait to see what I missed while I was playing for this review. There's just so much to uncover, and I can't wait to hop back in. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. I've got lots more reviews coming and a lot of fun content on the way. Also, be sure to check out the Discord where people are hanging out and talking Nintendo Switch all the time. But like I said, that is going to be it, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.